From New York, it's That Kevin Show.
See, I knew it.
Come on, Kev. What's a few classified documents between friends?
I told you all the time. I knew it. I knew he had some too.
Here he is, That Kevin McCullough.
Welcome back to That Kevin Show from Times Square in New York. Glad to have you with us. I'm always glad to have truth tellers on the show. It is very important that we set the facts straight. And it is very important that in the process of setting those facts straight, that we amplify the fact that people have not been shooting straight about certain things. And last week, the week of September the 20th, Kamala Harris, the VP, was in Atlanta. She was there to basically prove her pro-abortion bona fides, lust, hunger. She wants more dead babies than any presidential candidate that's ever run. She just wants the rivers to run with babies' blood. It's really sad just how aggressive she is in wanting to make sure that babies are killed. But she was there, and she made an interesting statement in her presentation that seemed to imply that it was the abortion bans that have gone into place in Georgia since the overturning of Roe v. Wade that caused the death of a couple of people that she cited that she was talking about. But in reality, it's just the opposite that caused their death. Here to discuss is Dr. Ingrid Skop of the Lozier Institute, and she's with us to discuss this. Dr. Skop, thank you for being with us so much. What is the truth of the situation?
Well, what we're seeing is that for some reason, the Democrats think this is a winning political issue. And the only reason they can even try to think that is that they have so misrepresented the issue of abortion to the American people that the American people do not understand. Ever since the overturn of Roe v. Wade, we've seen them lying and saying that, for example, these laws will not allow doctors to provide necessary medical care for women in pregnancy emergencies, that they won't allow miscarriage treatment, that they won't allow ectopic treatment. Well, all you have to do is Google the law, and you will see that clearly all of those things are an exception to every single pro-life law in this country. So to me, it speaks of desperation. They can't be honest about the laws because 95% of abortions in our country are healthy moms and healthy babies, children who their lives are being ended for social and financial reasons. That is the truth of abortion in America, and the American public are very uncomfortable with those type of elective abortions. But really, regarding what happened in Georgia, 2 women did die following taking medication abortion drugs, mifepristone and misoprostol. And so the drugs killed the women, not the laws. The Amber Thurman, one of the women, went out of state, obtained the drugs, and came back home and had a failed abortion. So her body did not expel all of the tissue. That tissue became infected. The FDA, by the way, has a black box warning on mifepristone for exactly this problem. It's rare, but when it happens, it is deadly. Now, because the laws had been so misrepresented, apparently Ms. Thurman thought that she could be prosecuted. No state will prosecute a woman who obtains an abortion, but that may have led to a delay in her obtaining care. When she went to the emergency room, it is not clear why the doctors did not intervene. Doctors know that she was clearly septic at the time she presented and needed that dead tissue to be removed from her uterus in order to treat her infection. But for whatever reason, the doctors delayed about 20 hours before they took her to surgery, and she died on the operating table. It was the drugs that killed her, not the law, and it's not clear what was going on with the doctors. It may have just been medical malpractice.
Well, I was just about to say, it doesn't even sound like it was exclusively the drugs. It may have been the inaction by the medical team. And the overarching point of all of this is that the abortion ban had nothing to do with what created the circumstances of her death.
Absolutely. The second woman who died, Candy Miller, ordered these drugs online from a distributor in the Netherlands. So that is allowed because the FDA has removed all the important safeguards on these drugs. They're allowing that to happen so that women are having totally medically unsupervised abortions. She also had a failure. About 1 out of 20 women will have a failure where they need surgery to remove that tissue. But apparently she died from a fentanyl overdose. And why did that happen? Because women experience severe pain. Their bodies go into labor. And rather than seek care, apparently she was also afraid because the law had been misrepresented as prosecuting women, and she did not seek care. She sought to medicate on her own, and it ultimately led to her death. So both of these women, the blame lies squarely on the abortion drugs. The blame lies on the FDA for taking away important safeguards, allowing these drugs to be used as a do-it-yourself abortion. And by the way, these changes by the FDA occurred long before Roe v. Wade was overturned. This was always the plan. This has nothing to do with the Dobbs decision or Georgia's abortion laws.
I just want the people watching and listening to really take note of what we're talking about here. Kamala Harris is saying on the campaign stump every day, because she's not doing her job as VP. She's saying on the campaign stump every single day, these bans are causing women to die. And she cited these two cases specifically in her Georgia speech. In Georgia, what Dr. Skop has just explained to us is that it was in fact not the ban that caused their death. It was the fact that they accessed abortion, drugs and access, and then did not know, one, how to go about it. Number two, did not have safeguards that the FDA should be enforcing on drugs that are this potent and this powerful. Number three, medical malpractice and neglect. And fourthly, some sort of overdose that we don't understand where the second one got it from, but it was not related to anything related to the holistic, whole woman, whole family approach that even a pro-life crisis pregnancy center would have provided. And Dr. Skop, I don't really understand, and maybe you can shed some light on this. There's always been this animosity in the women's health circles between the abortion clinics as they view crisis pregnancy centers, and yet neither one of these women would have had nearly this kind of reception had they reached out to a pro-life person for help, because a pro-life person would have definitively gotten them the help that they needed, even in their moment of crisis, even though they were committing an act that the pro-life person disagreed with.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we talk about these abortion drugs, and we took a case to the Supreme Court warning about the abortion drugs, which the Supreme Court basically passed on and did not look at the merits of the case. We are doing what we're doing because we care for women. We want them to do well. No one wants a woman to die because of medical neglect after taking these dangerous drugs. And so this dishonest conversation that lies about the laws, that lies about the circumstances where women can receive care, that even confuses doctors so that they don't understand the laws. This is all they have. This is desperation. They can't have a discussion on the merits of elective abortion. They must point at the tragic circumstances and then misrepresent them to imply that it's the law's fault. But again, the laws allow doctors to do what they need to do, clearly.
We're coming right back from Times Square. Eye-opening conversation with Dr. Ingrid Skop.
Stick around for more of That Kevin. Next, That Kevin Show with Kevin McCullough.